What we're going to cover today is how to build some of the boxes for the cabinetry that we do here at the school. The methodology, the steps, the machine, then this machine, then this machine, how to get from just a piece of melamine to an actual finished box. Now, first of all, you should be given all the measurements that you need on a piece of paper, probably in a notebook of some kind, and it will look like this. So a whole bunch of lines and things like that, that tells you the box, the sides, the top and bottom, the back, so everything is listed so you know exactly how big it is, the width and the length and how many of them. So there are some commonalities. All the base cabinet sides are 23 3/4 of an inch deep. That's wide, that's this way. And we'll just cut a whole bunch of strips out at that width. Then all you got to do is figure out the length, which is on the sheet, and start cutting your lengths out. So what I'm going to show you today is what to do on the saw. How do we trim it so that I have those pieces so now I can cut them to length and move on. The tops are done the same way, except instead of the 23 3/4, it's only 11 3/4, so we end up with a 12-inch box. But the method is the same. So when you pull out one of these melamine pieces from the back, it's 3/4 of an inch thick. It's really heavy. It weighs a ton. So make sure you've got some help to slide it back here to the panel saw. Now when this stuff comes from the factory, it's fairly straight, but the problem is on the edges they chamfer, they soften the corners so that it doesn't cut you when you pick it up. Now it's really nice in transport, but we need it to be nice and sharp. So we need to trim off the top edge to get a very sharp edge so that the edge bander can adhere to it better and give a nice tight joint. So what we need to do is make the saw cut sideways. So it's pretty simple. Bring it down, and to turn it sideways all you got to do is push here and it goes straight over. There's no lock, I don't have to release anything, and it's in the right place. The next thing is, on this saw there are stops. There's one right here. It's a little metal bracket, a little piece of metal that's just Allen screwed right into place. There's another one at the bottom, and these are the ones that are preset to do this operation. So we only use these in cabinetry. So what you do, there's a black pin right above that bar right here. You press it in. That bar sticks a pin inside where this is, and you lower it down until it stops. So please remember, don't push in and slam it down. You might actually lower that stop and then it's all out of whack. It's not the right sizes. So now this saw is exactly in place to cut off about 1/4 of an inch off the top edge. So now when that's in place, it still won't go back and forth. So we put on your safety glasses, lift the bar, now it's unlocked and now I can move it. So what you have to do is put it in at the end and it only cuts to the right. We bring it back to the center. Now we need to trim right down the middle at 23 3/4 from here to here. Now the second stop that's on there, this other stop that I have, if I roll that over, it's down here. That one is set exactly at 23 3/4 down from the top. Now the other side we'll have to do a different way, but we'll get to that in a second. So loosen it up, just pull this out. Now I can move it up and down. Get it down close to the pin, push that in. The pin hits the stop and get it in there and it's ready to go. And you do the exact same cut. Now remember, as you leave the other edge, as the blade comes through the other side, it leaves an 1/8 of an inch saw kerf. There's an 1/8 of an inch gap. All right? Now as soon as you pop out the other side, those two boards want to collapse onto the blade. So the easiest way to fix that so that you don't get a chewed up edge and a burn especially, is as you cut and are about to exit out the other side, either you or somebody else on your team hold this piece up. Just right here, pull up and hold it up so that it doesn't collapse. Once they come out the other side, then you can drop it back down and that's fine. So here goes the cut. Hold it up. And that's all you need to do. So I held it with my left hand and lifted. If it's too heavy, get somebody else. Somebody's cutting here and then the other guy's holding it up and it'll work perfectly. Now we just pull this out of here. Just kind of lean it towards you and it lifts right off. Lay it over here on the side. Okay? So now this piece has 2 good edges and it's ready to be trimmed to the right length, whatever that happens to be. But this one only has 1 good edge. Now, I cannot cut along the bottom edge. It's too close. It'll hit some of the things on the base. It doesn't work. I have to lift it up and flip it over. So here's how we do it. We take this piece, tilt it towards me so it's kind of resting on my leg, and have this auxiliary fence, the one that pulls out and up right there. So now I have another, it'll lift it up and I can flip it over. So then all I got to do is just pick it up, flip it to the other side. I just rest it right there and tip it up and I'm set to go. So now we just have to trim along here. So here's the saw. Now, this stop is too close for me to have put another stop in here for this cut. So here's how we do it. First, we loosen that up and we just bring it up. Okay, this measurement, there are 3 tape measures on here on this saw, and the one on the right and the one on the left are the same measurement. The only reason there's one here and one here, these little stops, is because if I'm cutting way low, really down here, it prevents me from having to bend over to see. I can actually see it here. Or if I'm cutting really high up here, I can't see that accurately, but I can see this one just fine. All right, so that is measuring from the base up. We want the one from the auxiliary fence up. That's the middle one. All you got to do is set it to 23 3/4 right there, and you're ready to cut. All right, and that's your scrap right there. Now, because it's so small, I didn't bother lifting up on it. It's not heavy enough to do any damage. Just break it into a few little pieces, throw it away. Now that we have this piece ready to cut, it's now good on this edge and good on this edge. We want to slide it all the way down to this cut here. This is where the saw normally cuts in its home position, and I'm going to trim off one end. So now I've got this one's good, and now when I cut that, that'll be good. Then I'll shift it down to whatever measurement I need and make those cuts. Take the saw, lock it into position, and you can see the pin at the top, or if you can see here, there's an orange mark. Once you line the 2 orange marks up, you know it's in place. You pull down and it's in place. Unlock it, and then turn it vertical and you're ready to cut. So I'm just going to trim off the end. You just hold that piece before it hits the floor. It's just a tiny little shim of a piece, and you take it and throw that away. Now you cut your lengths. So I always start with the left and right sides that are typically 30.5 inches long. But that's on the piece of paper. That's something that you'll be given. So set this to the right length, 30.5. Bring this down. There we go. And then make your cut. Now, each time you cut, you're making a new good edge, and so you just continuously cut off of that until you have all your pieces. Make the cuts that you need for the sides, then make the cuts that you need for the bottom piece. That'll be exactly the same width, the same depth anyway, and then we'll move on to the next step. While the team is cutting all these sides out, including the bottoms and the tops and so forth, another team can be taking those left and right sides over to the line boring machine to bore the holes that they're all going to need. Regardless of what we use them for, where they go, they all get these holes because the hardware attaches into these holes. They're spaced perfectly for my hinges and the drawer glides and so forth. So what we need to do, take 2 of them and identify the bottom. It doesn't matter which end is the bottom, you just need to identify it. So we take, in my case, I'll take a marker, could be a pencil, I just want to be able to see it, and just put some kind of a mark. I put 2 lines, you can put a long line, I don't care. Something that tells you that's the bottom. Now here's the reason why. I'll move one of these out of the way. On this machine, the holes are referenced from the bottom up. From the bottom up, not the top down. If you go from the top down, then they don't align and you get a crooked shelf. So There's my 2 lines that identify the bottom. You put it back against the back fence, slide it to your left until it hits a little pin right here. And I know it's hard to see, but it is right there, and that will stop it. It's now referencing from the bottom edge up, and then cut your holes. Just go straight down till it stops. Once I can't go anymore, that's it. Pull it away and move it down. What'll happen is the pin that I referenced from is on a spring, so it actually pushes back into the bracket that it's in. So I'm pushing that back into the spring and sliding down. This little spring-driven rod centers onto the last hole, so I know that the spacing will be correct, and then you cut the rest of them. So I want them from the bottom to the top. Then you flip it around. Now here's the bottom, and I need to reference from this pin on the right and do the same thing in the opposite direction. Now with that one done, you repeat it on the other side and do exactly the same things. So this is the control panel to the new edge banding machine that we have in the shop. There's a whole lot of buttons here, things to be confusing, but as you can see, I've taped a lot of them that don't actually apply to what we're doing. So when it's time to turn this thing on, you need to press this button right here. It's got a thermometer symbol on it. All that does is it tells the machine to warm it up to 190 degrees. It's only at 135 right now, and it's slowly creeping up. So that will get it going. That takes approximately 10 to 15 minutes to get it to the temperature. Now, if you don't use it when it gets to the temperature, after about 10 minutes, it'll cool back down to about 130 degrees, and that's where it kind of hovers until you come back to it. So these 2 buttons here and here are not highlighted when you turn the machine on the first time. All right, so you've got to turn this one on and this one, and they're the only 2 that light up. Okay, now this button will light up when I turn it on, but that's the go button, that's the stop button. This is reset. It's telling you here there's something wrong, you need to reset, so you just simply reset, press reset button, press it again. Now we're back to where it's warming up again. All right, so the only other thing you've got to do is turn on the white light. You can hear that the air pressure turned on. It's saying it's ready to go. As soon as I get to temperature, it's all set to go. Once this rises to the correct temperature, press the green button, and when this green light lights up, that means the conveyor belt is ready to take one, it's ready to cut. Then you'll turn this switch. And I know there's a whole lot to remember, but don't worry, it's not too hard when you do it once or twice. So now it has to raise another 50 degrees, and then we'll be ready to edge band. While the edge bander is warming up, there's a few things that you can do to prepare to use it. First of all, here's the 2 sides that we have the holes in. Now here's the marks I put on right here and here, so I know that this is the bottom. We need to make sure that the holes line up with each other. So when I put the box together, the holes are going to be facing each other. So I'm simply going to take this board, there's holes here, drop it down so that the holes are facing each other. That's how it will be once it's put together. Of course they'll be separated, but this is how they'll be direction-wise they'll be going. Now here, this is the bottom that was cut already on the saw, and here are the top 2 pieces. So along the top they're actually going to be spaced like that, so I'll be able to put my hand inside the top to put in hardware, hinges, whatever. It just makes life a little easier instead of having a full piece. But they're all going to be edge banded a little bit. Okay, so the big bottom side is exactly the same depth as the sides are, so I know it goes in this direction, it'll go this way. And then these 2 are the same in this direction. Now I only need to edge band one of them, the one in the front. Of course, the one I'm going to see. The one in the back, I could care less, it's going to be covered with the countertop. So I'm just going to move one of these out of the way. So here they sit. These 2 are oriented correctly. The holes are together and I know it's right. I don't care that the lines don't match up perfectly, whatever, but they are the bottom, and that's all I really wanted. So I take my marker, now I'm going to identify the front. Which edge gets the edge banding? Okay, so if that's the bottom, the front could be this side, the front could be this one. It doesn't matter. Again, pick one, but as long as they're oriented right, you should be able to edge band the right side. So again, I take my marker, I'm just going to put 2 lines there. That's the front. This piece that's facing towards me, this is the bottom, I need to edge band the front. That's this edge facing me, so I'm going to put a line there. And again, this one needs to be edge banded only on this edge. So now I've got a black mark on all the edges that need edge banding. We're just going to run it through the machine. It trims everything for you, and then we'll be able to dowel it and put it together. All right, the edge bander now says temperature okay. It's very specific, so you can turn it on. But before you do, I want to make sure that you understand we need to suck out all of the pieces that are going to be cut off. I've got a vacuum system right behind. It's not into the main system in the room. So you have to walk behind the machine. And I know you can't see the switch from the camera there, but this is the vacuum system. There's a switch on it. Turn it on. This will inflate, and that's what sucks out all of the excess. Now all you got to do, hit go. You'll hear this turn on, and I'm waiting for this button to turn green. All right, green button's on. Turn this knob, and the conveyor belt will start. So here are the pieces behind me. There's my black mark right there. Put it in so that black mark is against the machine. Just push it in and let it go, and it does everything itself. When you're done, it has a nice piece of edge banding on it, very little gap, trims it off on the ends perfectly, and we do that to all the other pieces. Remember, don't put another piece in until you see that green button light back up. Now I can feed another one. Also, if I need more support, this comes out. I can pull that out, and it gives me the extra support for the really big pieces. All right, so I'm going to wait till that turns green and feed the other one through. Now notice, it doesn't matter if the holes are up or down. It'll work either way. Light's green, I can feed 2 at a time. When you're all done, press the stop button. It turns off this, and then walk around and turn off the vacuum system. The only other thing I wanted to mention is that when it comes through, if there's any problem with the edge banding, it didn't adhere all the way, it's pulled off a little, it's not cut right, then rip it off. You'll probably need a chisel or something to get under there to rip it off because it holds well, and just run it through again. It's nothing big. We don't have to work it with a machine. We just rip the stuff off and start again. Now I'm a little bit zoomed in on this machine because of all the machines in this process, this is the one that's most likely to cause you grief. If you do things in the wrong order or have it flipped or whatever reason, the pins won't line up. So this is called a doweling machine. It's another boring machine. You can see boring system 21, it's got 21 heads, but I use it to put dowels into these boxes. So you turn it on with the big switch here, and you'll see a little light turn on below it. Now it's ready to go. Now it's hooked up to air, it's pneumatic, and the nice thing about that is it cuts 2 different directions. The way that it is right now, the bits will cut into the end of a board. If I wanted to cut the other way, I simply flip this switch right here, and you can hear the air kind of seep out, and this will slowly lay back. And that's really nice because I don't have to do it manually. Now the bits will cut upward into a board that's laying flat. So it does both. Now the first cut that I would like to do is into the sides. So it's in the right orientation right now. So how do we know what to do? You always have the side that you want to see, the side you like best, facing down. And the sides that we're going to see most are the ones that go on the inside of the box. So if I grab a side, the holes right here that we did a little earlier, they're going to be seen on the inside. We want those down. So we have it down. There. Now, I have 2 fences here. Do I have it this way or do I have it this way? Okay, well, there's a few things you need to remember. First, this is the bottom. I see the lines that I drew. There's the bottom. Bottom goes in, and I want to push it against my good edge, and that's the one with edge banding. So I have it tight against the edge banding and push it back against the fence. It stops itself. So against the edge banding, that's the bottom, and then I simply hit the pedal, which is below, and it's hard, you can't see it on the camera. Press and hold. So when I held it, those bits came all the way up. Once I heard that they were done cutting, I let go and they dropped back down again. Now I flip it around. So here's the holes that drilled. You can see them along there. There they are. Flip it around, same side down. Now I'm doing the top. Now, with the top, it's going to be a little different. I'm going to have one of these boards here and another one here along the top edge. But because this is in two pieces, I need to make an extra cut. And you'll understand that when I glue it together. First, we do our regular cut. Edge banding against this side now, since I flipped it over and all the way back. Okay, so that's correct. Press and hold. Now, I need to do another set of holes referenced from the back forward. And again, I'll explain why once we're assembling. Now I push it down to the right. Now I'm referencing from the back and doing the same cut. So now you can see that this has twice the number of holes. We don't use them all. We actually only use 2 in the front and 2 in the back. And again, I'll demonstrate in a minute. Repeat what you just did on the other side. Here are all the holes right here. Those are the ones that we drilled. And I like to do the bottom first. There's the bottom. So that's the bottom. Edge banding here, press and drill. Flip it around. This is now the top. Do the regular setup that we did. And now slide down and do it again. Very good. So both of those are done and ready to go. Here's the piece we cut for the bottom. Okay, so I look at it, and mostly I'm looking along this edge where the edge banding is. I see a little chip there, a tiny one there. This side has a few more chips. So I like the other side better. So I want the good side down. And remember, the edge banding has to go against one of these fences. So you may have seen, I was about to put it in this way. The edge banding's here, so I know I've got to turn it. Now I also need to drill into the edge. I don't want to drill up. That's only for the sides. Now this is top and bottom. We turn this, that will come back up, and we're all set to drill. Best face down, edge banding against that side, press and hold. Now in this case I'm going to hold it in because it tends to push it out a little even with these pressers. Just a little, not a whole lot. Then we flip it around without flipping it over. Make sure there's nothing under it. If you have a lot of sawdust under the board, it'll lift it up and they won't line up quite right. So make sure that's clear. All right, under there, tight against that fence. If you don't like it, do it again. There we go. Nothing wrong with doing it a second time if it moved a hair. Okay, so now we've got all those holes. Now, as you can see, the hole is not dead center. It's much closer to one edge than the other. And that'll be important when we assemble so you know which way they go. Now the remaining two pieces, one of them is edge banded, the other is not. So there's the edge banding, this one doesn't have any. So this one's the front. So I'm just going to lean that there, look for the top edge. I like that side, so I flip it over, get rid of all the sawdust. Best side down, edge banding against that side there, and cut. Flip it over, same thing, and do it again. This one is ready to assemble. It only gets 2 holes. You do the same thing on the other one, except this one goes in the back. So you don't have to remember this, but now this would represent the back edge, because I want it flush. You don't need to worry about it, just pick an edge, stick it in, cut, flip it around, and do it again. When we assemble, we'll make sure that that's in the right place.